young child named Maria was having severe stomach pain in her lower abdomen area, so her parents took her to the hospital to get examined. And the doctor examined her but sent her home that same night. Maria visited the emergency room 2 more times that same night because the pain just got worse and worse. On her 3rd visit, the doctor realized and notified Maria that she would need immediate surgery, but the doctor could not communicate this to the parents because there was a language barrier. The parents couldn't speak English, and the doctor couldn't speak Spanish. So the language barrier implicated on the medical services that Maria was going to get. And this is why foreign languages should be mandatory in education curriculums. Foreign languages are becoming more and more necessary because the United States is becoming more and more diverse as the days go on. Foreign languages will provide proper medical care to all of those that are receiving it. The language barriers are being created more and more, not just in education, but as well as in family and future generations. And thirdly, foreign languages will provide a better outlook on global affairs. Our first point is not knowing a foreign language can provide improper medical care. So by what I mean by this is my example of Maria, who was going to need surgery but couldn't get it because her parents were miscommunicated and didn't know what was going on, partly because of the parents' fault and partly because of the doctor's fault. Foreign languages are becoming more and more necessary because as our diverse increases, our health services increase as well. So there's more variety of people getting these health services, and they just need to know what they are receiving and what they're going to pay, obviously, in the end. Dr. Kim Gibeon of the Journal of American Geriatric Society decided to do a phone interview kind of study type of situation experiment, and she decided to interview Latino immigrants and Asian immigrants as well. And of the 100% of Latino immigrants that she interviewed, 66.8% decided to do the interview in their native tongue. And the Asian immigrants, 58.2% decided to do their interview in their native tongue. And not only should languages be for people who only speak English, but I'm also getting at the point where people who don't speak any English and only know their native tongue should know English just as well, so that everybody can communicate all at once. And the funny thing about the interview is that of the immigrants that did decide to do their interview in their native tongue was a lot of the older generation, which brings me to my second point, where not knowing a language can create a barrier between your family, education, and future generations. So with future generations, I mean that as the older generations go away, the future generations aren't going to know their native tongue because there is no communication between those two, because future generations are losing their native tongue and the possibility that they can immerse themselves in their culture, and they're kind of losing their identity as themselves and where they come from. With family, if you have a family where they migrated here from somewhere else, the parents aren't going to know English, and the young child that's going to school is going to know their native tongue, but they're not going to be able to translate back and forth between their native tongue and their English. So if the young child needs any type of homework help or anything like that, there's going to be no kind of help for them because their parents and the student, the young child, are going to be able to communicate as well because of that language barrier. And Alison Keir Sanchez proves that 95% of the nation's citizens speak English, but there is also, just because of that 95% is so high, it doesn't mean that everybody speaks English. There is a high level of minority individuals who can speak English, but they have like a limited proficiency in it. So they speak enough to get by in their town or in their job, but they don't speak so fully that they'll be able to help their children or teach anything to their incoming generations. And thirdly, foreign languages will help provide a better outlook for global affairs. And what I mean by this is that the world altogether knows English. English is seen kind of like an international exchange language with businesses and all those type of money issues. So technically you can go to a foreign country and not speak their foreign language and get by pretty well because they know English enough. But going to a foreign country without knowing the foreign language wouldn't be a good idea because you might seem ignorant and you probably won't get the full experience of being able to conversate with somebody in their own language. Like, that's kind of a pretty cool thing, and you'll be more immersed in a culture experience. The Chicago Council actually did a study on this, and they are like an organization who influence global issues such as this. And they did a study in China, Indonesia, Japan, South Korea, and Vietnam with families who had children in the education systems in their countries. And of the families, 96% to 100% of the families said that English is a very important language to know and should be mandatory in their child's education. So what I'm getting at again is, in the United States here, we kind of are like English only as a country. If you're in America, you should only speak English. But in reality, if you go to another country like Japan, the people there not only speak Japanese, but they're also taking English courses, just like here. Some people are taking Spanish courses, French courses, or German courses, because they want to be more culturally open. So, foreign languages will provide more proper medical care. It also decrease the language barriers between family education and future generations, and it will also provide a better outlook on global affairs. So if young Maria was able to translate between her parents and her doctors, she would have gotten her surgery more quicker, but the doctors could have communicated better with the parents if they knew Spanish, and the parents could also communicate with the doctors if they knew English. So as you can see, foreign language is becoming more and more crucial in today's society.